Sorry. That will help. Thought I had everything set up, had the camera pointing the right direction, and I don't have a microphone, so I can't really speak to nobody. All right. Anyways, back to what I was attempting. Uh, have you ever heard of the story of the egg? If not, um, it's a story basically about somebody speaking to God. What is God? You know, stories here on YouTube. I'll actually link it here in comments. The reason I bring this up is because I find some, before I ever heard of the story, I had quite a few things happen. This helped teach me quite a bit in life. And I run some groups, a couple groups, well, if you call it running groups. I got a couple groups on Facebook, and one of them is the We Are One, We Are Love group. And it's because of my whole, thought on what is God, what is us, what is existence, and all of us being part of the one, coming from that source, different perceptions of what is God, what is creation. Creation is basically different points of perceptions fractaled out everywhere. That is us. Anyways, I bring this up because within that story, a lot of things can be learned, and I actually had quite a few lessons taught before I heard that story. So once I heard that story, it was really cool. But it can actually help you with quite a bit of stuff in life, um, fear, judgment, pain, loss, you name it. So many things can be made comfortable or explained in a better way just by such a simple story as this. But for me, I've been on a journey for quite some time, as many have. And I remember at one point, I was still on the religious part of my spiritual journey. And I did a study with Jehovah's Witnesses. And I went to a great big meeting with them at like a super center place, same kind of place you see concerts and different events and stuff at. And it was the first time that I felt universal consciousness. Nobody had any judgment of anybody there, and you could feel it in the air. I didn't quite know exactly what it was at the moment, other than a bunch of peaceful, loving people, through through the love of God uniting, which basically is what the universal consciousness and the connectivity is. But that was actually one of my first experiences with that. And then I had I started as time went on, and I started going through other spiritual studies. I went back into doing meditation, and I've done that, and I went into those realms, and I've went even deeper, like looking out that window out there and literally feel the vibes of the trees and nature and the air and everything around me. I feel totally connected to it. And during this process, I was given some teaching, and part of that, of course, was that. Then there was he passed. Now I'm still not sure. I think he had a heart attack. It wasn't cold enough. But we had a guy in the neighborhood who was homeless, ex-Navy guy. He's actually a pretty cool guy. I used to talk to him every so often. And I walked with him to the store one day. And I remember after that, I think it was later that day, I was actually walking around. And it was so wild because I was able to observe life from his actual perspective. I mean, I was in my body, but I felt as though I was within his consciousness. And I just assumed it. Wasn't too happy with life. I mean, homeless, you know, scavenging around for food and beer. That ain't the way he felt. Not at all, man. Felt completely different. That was very interesting to me. That opened up my eyes as far as perception, judgment, and stuff to a great deal. But the biggest one, which I'm still processing to this day, is I a lot of times don't go into a deep sleep, so I start taking melatonin and different stuff some time back. I've gotten used to it. You know, I can go into a little bit deeper sleep now. I went to sleep one night. I wasn't dreaming, and I always dream because I usually stay in like REM sleep a lot. But anyways, I see it's 5:30 something. Don't want to make this video real long. Um, I wasn't dreaming or nothing. I just woke up from a dead sleep, jumped up, and went, "Nothing exists." Freaked out. Now I've heard of people doing stuff similar to this, like with the DMT trip, and this kind of goes back into the whole thing with the egg. Um, it happened twice. I'm going to be straight with everybody because this is what I do. You know, part of my life is example. So I actually slept with a little light on. Man, I don't sleep with a night light on. I sleep pitch dark. It kind of freaked me out, and until I started realizing what it was. You know, it's just like when you get a download of information from the other side. Sometimes it takes a while to incorporate. Dreams, same way. Um, but I went back to that point, to the point of creation, of what we call God, you know, source creator. But I didn't stay there long enough to get any direction of, hey, this is what it's like where I'm at. I am you, I am God. But, you know, instead I woke up and even though I could see everything around me and see that I existed, I was totally convinced that the only thing that existed in the whole entire world was me as a conscious energy. And that even though I was looking down at my body and looking at the walls and stuff, I went, this is all a projection of my perception. Basically, I've took my imagination and manifested everything that I think is existence into reality, when really there is nothing other than me observing that I'm conscious. And even at that moment, it was like I was the consciousness of God, and that was it. Now, I'm not saying that that's, you know, that's that I am, and that's the purpose of the story. But what the purpose of the story was, you know, and what the teaching was with me, was to realize that everything that I look at and have been taught is not completely my reality, that I can let go of these things, that I don't die, I rebirth into another life, whether it be here on Earth, another star system, however, you know, maybe ascend into a higher energy form. But the whole point of it was to let me know that I don't have to fear anything. I can let go of everything, everybody, because even all the people in my life, I am part of them people. They are part of me. We all come from source, so we are all part of the same. You never let go. You're always connected to everything and everybody. So what as scary as that one little part was, with all the other training in between, and so many months of incorporating this stuff, and then bam, somebody's showing me the egg thing, and I was like, hey, there we go. There's another one of them. What do we call that? Confirmations, you know, confirmations from the universe, from somewhere else. Get it a lot of time from other people, you know. I feel energy, certain stuff going on, blah, blah, blah. I'll watch somebody and they're like, yeah, a couple days, this energy's coming through. And I'm like, yep, I'm already feeling it. So this was like a confirmation thing. It was really neat, you know. So I just wanted to share that with you, because if you look into the story and look into these thought forms, it will really cure a lot, because you can't hate another human being once you realize this. Because to hate another human being would be to hate yourself and to hate your creator, to hate all creation. It makes absolutely no sense at that point. And to judge others makes no sense. It's just different perceptions, living out them perceptions and them experiences, for whatever the reason may be, whether it's learning, some kind of training, whether it's just to feel it, you know? Some people actually want to go through life and do some stuff that don't seem that great to you. To know what it is to feel that, to be complete and whole. Although it may sound crazy to some, maybe they led a beautiful life and now they want to lead a not so beautiful one. To find out what it feels like for all that. As I've said an example before with me, lived a pretty normal life. Then shit got sketchy and weird, then weirder. Whole bunch of crap happened that I could write a book on. But I returned back to this point, you know? So, if you've never read, or I didn't read it. Like I said, it's on a video, man. I'll link it. You can watch the video. If you have, maybe go over some of that, thought process there, because that, like I said, that fixes so much. There's no more judgment and no more, misperception. You just pretty much look at life as everybody's having their experience. Every experience I had built me back into the way that I was. For me to be able to even talk to people and to be able to show this level of love and compassion and helping others, I had to feel everything that I went through. If I'd have went through a nice sheltered life, I'd have been one of them people that's like, what are y'all crying about? Why don't you just get it, But I understand what it's like to feel pain. Understand what it's like to be lied to by this matrix and be considered an awakened individual, but still be faked out by the system. I've invited all these things into my life and lived all these things in my life for the experience to build me into who I am. So always remember that too. Accept who you are. All's well. Anyways, I'm going to go ahead and end this video. Much love to y'all. Good day or evening, whatever it is in your little part of the world. Peace.